A very good day to you all. My name is Pastor Lawrence Mazenge and welcome to Daily Inspiration. Today we are reading from the book of Mark chapter 14 verse 70 to 72, and the Bible says, "And he denied it again, and a little after, they that stood by said again to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thou art a Galilean, and thy speech agreeth thereto. But he began to curse and to swear, saying, I know not this man of whom you speak. And the second time the cock crew, and Peter called to mind the word that Jesus had said unto him, Before the cock crowed twice, thou shalt deny me thrice. And when he thought thereon, he wept." Our message today is titled, Can You Be Identified? This was at the moment the prophecy of Jesus Christ was being fulfilled upon Peter. He was told beforehand, earlier that day, that before the cock crowed twice he would have denied Jesus 3 times. So Peter here was denying Jesus Christ. In his own imaginations, I don't think Peter had ever imagined himself denying Jesus Christ. But this time around, it happened as Jesus had prophesied. A lot of people point fingers at Peter. A lot of people criticize Peter for what he did. But for me today, my main question and my main worry is not on Peter, but it's on us as Christians of today. Peter was identified. Some, they say to him, you look like a Galilean, you speak like a Galilean, and you are like one of them. My point is, not every Galilean was being identified as having with Christ. But Peter's ways, the way he did his things, the way he was behaving, or the way he was talking, was like someone who had been with Christ. I want to ask you a question. Can you be identified? Because to tell the truth, Peter was trying to hide in the plain. He was trying to hide in the open. That is what Peter was trying to do. He was trying to hide because he didn't want to be identified. He didn't want to be discovered as someone who has been with Christ, since Christ was actually in the process of being crucified and being killed. So Peter was hiding, but he was identified in hiding. If you are asked to hide your Christianity, will you be identified as a Christian? If you are asked not to tell anyone that you are a Christian, will you be identified as one? That is my question to all of us today. Can we be identified? Some don't even need to hide. You are already hidden even before you decide to hide. People will actually be surprised when you tell them that you are a Christian. But that was not so with Peter. Peter was hiding, but 3 people identified him. He was identified because he was walking like Christ. He was like Christ. Everything about him was now like Christ. I desire that we may be like that. That everything about us may be like Christ. When you begin to understand Christianity, it is called Christianity because it is coming from the word Christ, which means the nickname came when people were walking like Christ, when people were being like Christ. Is that nickname still intact, or is that nickname still is it still supposed to be used on the majority of us today? Are we still like Christ, and are we still walking like Christ? Can you be identified if you decide to hide and not speak about your Christianity? Can people point at you and say, but we think you must be a Christian? When we read the Bible in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 1 to 2, it says, Be fellow followers of me, even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. Be followers of me as I follow Christ. This was the Apostle Paul. He was telling the church at Corinthians that they were supposed to follow him as he was following Christ, which means for as long as he was following Christ, they were never going to be in the wrong direction. What can people who follow you be like? Can they be like Christ? Can you create followers of Christ, or you can create your own followers? My name is Pastor Lawrence Mazenge. This is Daily Inspiration. God bless you and have a wonderful day.